Jews are very organized. That's what you have to understand on some level, is that you have things like the Republican Jewish Congress. You have the World Jewish Congress. You've got Jewish federations all across the country. They're very
How do you reconcile
politically.
the Epstein?
They're organized on.
How do you reconcile the Epstein thing? Like, it's conspiracy, but everything about it seems so strange. How do you reconcile it? So there is a couple weird things. I'd have to go and dig through it more. I tried to dig through it a little bit, but I didn't find anything compelling. One, him killing himself is believable, right? That's not unbelievable. The guy his life was fucked, billionaire, disgraced. Like, so his desire to kill himself is believable. So then the question becomes like, why did he have the opportunity to do it? Because it should have been obvious to anybody around him that like, this guy's probably going to commit suicide. Like, Jesus Christ. I don't remember if there was a fuck up in the guard change or something happened. I would have to look through it. But like, when I dug through it at the time, when I looked through it, it wasn't an unbelievable story. I wasn't like, oh my God, he was absolutely murdered or something. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to go through and dig through it again. But I mean, it's a fun conspiracy. Like, the guy is rich. Maybe people killed him to cover up shit or whatever. But it's always, yeah, I don't know. It's always strange to me when like there's so much involved in the arresting somebody, charging somebody, arraignment, all that. There's so much involved in all of that if there was some higher power that was capable of just like getting him killed in prison, like, why would you ever let it get to that point? This is always my problem with most conspiracy theories, is that like so much power on one end, but like, wouldn't that have been exercised earlier? Right? Like, if I was the person who was like planning the Epstein op, I feel like I would have gotten fired, because they would have said, why the fuck did you let Epstein even get caught and then charged? Right? He would have gotten killed earlier, is what I would imagine. That's what I would be thinking, but I don't know. It's obviously it's a really attractive conspiracy, the idea that there was a plan to murder him in jail or something, but Destiny is always so predictable in his takes. His takes are always counter narrative. So I just laid out why exactly I believe the things that I do believe, and I think it's pretty logically consistent. And your only response is to go, contrarian, like one of us is acting like a fucking retard. You can figure that out, Chief.
College campuses where they have their own Jewish campus life. They're organized in Republican and Democrat.
What would you place the percent chance the conspiracy is true at? My priors make it very low. And then all the other analysis afterwards would also make it very low. Because like I said, anybody that would be powerful enough to have him murdered in a maximum security prison and then not get caught probably just had him killed before even charges happen, or before anything. Like, he would have just been killed along the process, somewhere along the way. That would have been I mean, doesn't the same type of stuff happen to cartels in Mexico? Like, cartel bosses still get caught, but they own a large part of the government. No, I don't think it plays out the same way in cartels in Mexico. But I would have to, I'd have to go dig up. I mean, we can look through the facts of the case again. Like, because here's the, I'm sorry, I know I'm going against your favorite, like, lay Reddit narrative here. There was never any evidence whatsoever that anybody was involved in anything ever relating to any of this, right? It just seemed kind of fishy. Like, that's the most you have, but it's like this. Literally, all of Epstein's associates had the power to have him snuffed. You're totally right.
Why are there so many?
Why wouldn't they have just had him? Why wouldn't they have just had him snuffed earlier? Like, why let it get this far? They're still conducting investigations. Only 16% of Americans are saying that they believe Epstein committed suicide. 45% said he was murdered. 39% unsure. It was the perfect crime. True. The Epstein shit. Like the whole like
what is the conspiracy behind it exactly?
Well, so everybody thinks that basically some ultra shadowy people got him killed, which I guess is possible. I'll say it's possible, sure. But there's zero evidence for it. You have no reason to believe it, and it's totally believable that he would have killed himself, right? So like,
it's believable.
Yeah, absolutely.
The only thing, what is the truth as far as like cameras being turned off when he killed himself? Do you know what that?
Apparently they malfunctioned.
Curious.
Very curious. True. But
I wonder if that's like they malfunctioned because the guards were like fucking jerking off watching TV, or they malfunctioned because fucking James Bond came in there and fucking,
true, maybe
killed Epstein. Like, I think it's more likely the guards were like jerking off.
Well, so like the question, there's always like questions of like what is common practice. Like, are these cameras fucking up all the time? Are these whatever? Like it's always or like somebody just being lazy. Like, somebody like, oh fuck it, I don't care. It's hard to know. The only thing is that when I think of like conspiracies, what I usually think of is like, if somebody had the power to do this action, is it making sense that this is the point that they'd intervene? Because I feel like it would have been way better to kill Epstein as soon as he was caught, or sometime along that process, rather than waiting for him to get thrown in like maximum security prison. Like, that just seems insane to me. But
yeah, I suppose.
But I mean, like, I'll admit there's a chance that here's the thing. I'm willing to admit that there's a chance that somebody killed him. It's possible, but none of you guys, so like True Mom and chat, you won't admit that you have zero evidence. You have no evidence whatsoever. You don't. Nobody will admit that, but I don't care.
You know what is a little bit fucked though? Mm-hmm. Let's assume that there is like a black book that Epstein had of like,
where he writes down the names of all the powerful like pedophiles in the world. Yeah.
Like let's assume that he had the blackmail book, and right now that was in the hands of, I guess, the Justice Department would have that information right now. I wouldn't put it past Democrats or Republicans at the time to use that as a bargaining chip to like not do something or to do something essentially along those lines. I don't think that I would put that past them. I think that's probably within their scope. Like they would be thinking of the greater good and all that type of thing. Like, okay, we're not going to charge this guy, but we're going to get the senator from Kentucky to be able to vote with us on this issue. Like, I think that's reasonable to assume that might happen.
Wait, that what might happen?
That they would use non-prosecution on some of these things to further votes or further their political agendas.
Wait, how would you? I'm sorry. Hold on. I am disconnecting. They have the book in the DOJ or whatever, and Democrats and Republicans. How would they use this to further a political agenda?
By essentially prosecuting selective prosecution, I guess.
Am I fucking retarded, or am I missing something?
I think you are selectively retarded. Yes. I feel like I don't understand how you're not.
They have the book.
Yes.
And selective prosecution. Are you talking about like blackmailing people or something, or?
No, it's like, well, we have this list of names. We could certainly make it public that this guy fucked a 14-year-old, or, it would be convenient if, the senators from Missouri voted with us on this crime bill coming up here. You think that's
never mind. Okay, I'm understanding. I'm sorry. I'm so confused. Okay. So you're saying the implication being that there's some senators or congressmen that are on that book and you're like, hey, you should vote with us, otherwise they're going to release it or something, right?
To a certain extent, I think there's some of that's going on. Right now, there's this book, and I think they're in a pickle, because I'm sure there's a lot of people in there that are Democrats, and a lot of people... Hold on. I think there's a lot of people in there that might be Democrats and might be Republicans, and I feel that they can't selectively use one or the other, because it's all circumstantial. I don't think there's
is this book real, or are we saying hypothetically?
If the book is real.
Okay, yeah, I gotcha. Okay. I don't think that would happen, because you'd be roping in so many people, the shit would get leaked, I think. Or because people would have to figure out, like, why the fuck is this Democrat voting on this Republican bill, or why is this Republican voting? Like, I think it would be, like, really...
Don't you feel like it would be pretty irresponsible of Epstein to go through all this trouble of running this underage sex ring, and you don't even get any, like, poggers blackmail material out of it? Like,
wasn't the guy already, like, a fucking billionaire? What else does he need?
Well, how do you think he got to being a billionaire? Is some of this part of it? Like, basically, not like he got money from people to kids, but essentially those people may have kids, and as part of that, I don't think he was able to get preferential treatment and deals and make money that way.
I mean, that sounds really exciting, but I don't know. What was he a billionaire for?
Well, exactly. I don't know. I guess he was like, he did like, probably typical hedge fund shit, but that doesn't mean anything. You don't become a billionaire just because you're a hedge fund. You have to have people that invest their money with you. And it's a lot easier to get fucking Joe Blow to give you $1 billion to invest if you let him a 14-year-old something the night before, as opposed to if you didn't, would be the thought there. So
possibly, yeah, but
like trading favors, I guess.
That would be like a super elaborate. There'd be a lot of stuff set up in that if that was the case.
I mean, it's just like, I don't know. I think it's literally just.
Like when you're talking about like what you're talking about, I could totally believe for like a few people, but like spanning hundreds of people, like in one dude's death note, I don't know. That just seems like so fantastical.
How many people do you think were fucking underage people on Epstein Island? If you had to guess,
without having actually researched it or done anything like that,
nothing. Yep.
My guess is it if just totally reaching my gut, it would have to be well under 50 people. That'd be my guess.
Sure. That's still a lot of people that are
Could be, but
mindless.
like I'd be surprised. I'd be well under 50, but it wouldn't be like hundreds of powerful people or whatever. Maybe like, man, I don't know, 10 or 20.
I feel like
I don't know how big
I feel
Epstein's
like
Island or whatever.
my hunch is that it's actually not that many people because like
Because when you start roping in every new person, you're getting like insanely complicated like shit that could go wrong, right?
I feel like if you're gonna do illegal shit, like omega illegal shit, like fucking underage people, you're probably not gonna want to involve third parties with that.
Yeah.
Right. You're
okay.
probably
Hold
gonna...
on. Everything you're saying is disproving everything you're trying to say. Your open relationship is elaborate, and you have a hard time believing rich pedo's life isn't elaborate. What my open relationship with one other woman involved will spawn drama that will like span like 7 different platforms. There's no way I could rope 50 people into it that are all billionaires, highly influential, without anybody finding out.
Yeah, I think it was mostly Epstein liked fucking kids. And I think
that seems undeniable, right?
Yeah, so I think that was like 95% of this. And like maybe the 5% is occasionally he would be like, hey, you want to go a kid to like his friend or something. And sometimes they would. But I find it extremely unlikely that like these billionaires are like, oh, let me just go give you some blackmail material on me. Let's just go.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like this idea that there's like hundreds of like, you know, Prince Charles and Bill Clinton and everybody is like all of these people are going to fuck children with Epstein. It just seems like
if you're
so
fuck
risky.
kids,
If you're gonna fuck a kid, you're gonna do it in the privacy of your own home. Okay, it's gonna be a kid that you find. You're not gonna go get somebody else's kids. You know.
I mean, I assume that would be the more prudent of a system to do this, but yeah, I don't know. It seems unlikely. It is shocking though that I don't think there's been any coordinated arrests around Epstein yet. Why is that the case? Especially like, have we not?
Well, aren't they investigating like the Maxwell stuff?
I don't know.
But I mean, like, there's two answers. The
holdup?
one answer is that, like, yeah, he had a book of like people that he traveled with and did stuff with, but that wasn't like a book of kitty fuckers. So they probably tried to investigate. They ran into a whole bunch of dead ends, and then nothing came up. But what everyone in chat would probably think is that, like, well, the reason why none of the investigations are happening is because they're all rich and powerful people, and they'll murder the prosecutors. And they basically told them you're not allowed to investigate anything because every billionaire and politician is a child rapist, so you can't look into it. Is probably the chat idea.
Yeah, maybe.